This video is brought to you by Skillshare. With all the media attention focused on Israel's looming ground invasion of Gaza, in the background, the Israeli economy has started showing signs of strain. The shekel, already one of the worst performing currencies this year, has slid to a 7-year low, and Israel's domestic economy has stalled as war-related uncertainty undermines consumer confidence. While none of this should come as a complete shock, and Israel clearly has the fiscal space to fight a localized conflict, the risk of regional escalation and further political fragmentation do pose significant threats to the Israeli economy. So in this video, we're going to have a look at Israel's economy, why it was already under pressure before this month's events, and what impact the coming war might have. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Let's start with a bit of context. Now, there's a popular story that's often told about the Israeli economy that separates its economic history into two periods. Its social democratic period, which runs from 1948 until the mid-80s, and its capitalist period, which begins in the mid-80s and has continued on to this day. Yep, you heard that right. It's almost hard to imagine now, but Israel was actually a pretty left-wing country in its inception. The constant threat of war after 1948 and the socialist nature of the kibbutz made Israelis pretty keen on big government, which allows David Ben-Gurion's left-wing Labour Party, or its forerunners, to dominate Israeli politics until the late 70s. Anyway, in this narrative, Israel's economic potential was squashed by socialist regulation and planning, and its economic success should be credited to the neoliberal reforms implemented in the 1980s by Prime Minister Shimon Peres. In tandem with the Israeli Central Bank, Peres cut government spending, raised interest rates, and devalued Israel's currency, the shekel. The plan was a success. Israel's inflation rate quickly came down from its 1948 high of nearly 450%. And after a brief dip, Israel's economy started growing at a solid rate of about 5% a year. Ever since, the reforms have been credited as the foundation of Israel's economic miracle, and paraded as proof that right-wing economics are better than left-wing economics. However, while it's true that the reforms were successful in stabilizing the economy, this narrative at least misses out perhaps the most impressive part of Israel's economic story, which comes in the 50s and 60s. After declaring independence in 1948, Israel faced a deep economic crisis. As well as having to recover from the destabilizing effects of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, it also had to absorb hundreds of thousands of Jewish refugees from Europe and almost 1 million from the Arab world. Unemployment was high, growth was low, and foreign currency inflows were limited. However, from about 1952 until the 70s, the Israeli economy grew rapidly, with GDP increasing by an average of about 10% per annum and GDP per capita by about 6%. This was partly because of American aid and German reparations, but it was also because the Israeli government used that money to protect and nurture certain domestic industries, including agriculture, textiles, and diamond processing. In 1950, Israel's GDP per capita was about half that of the UK, but by 1972, it was basically equal. Unfortunately, Israel's economy took a turn for the worse in the 70s, for two reasons. First, and most obviously, war. Israel fought and won a brief war against its Arab neighbours in 1967, but it was the 1973 Yom Kippur War that really changed everything. While the Israelis did eventually push them back, the Arab states made rapid gains in the first few days, threatening the integrity of the Israeli state. In response, Israel basically went onto a war footing, with military spending going from under 10% of GDP to nearly 30%. The other reason the Israeli economy struggled is oil. After the 1973 war, Saudi Arabia and other Arab oil exporters declared an oil embargo, pushing prices up by 300% almost overnight. Prices stayed high until really the mid-80s, and this was bad news for Israel's economy, given it imports basically all its oil. In this light, Israel's economic history is therefore perhaps better divided into three periods. Its social democratic period, which runs from 1948 until 1973, what we might call its war period, which runs from 1973 until the mid-80s, and its modern period, which runs from the mid-80s until today. Anyway, however you split it, Israel's economic story is one of success. In part, thanks to a booming tech sector, Israel now has one of the highest GDP per capita in the world, and is widely considered the most developed country in the region. However, in the past year or so, Israel's political chaos has put its economy under strain. Netanyahu's controversial judicial reforms and the direction of Israeli politics have caused Israel's tech companies to shift operations abroad. And
Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar Kadash, Dominus, the apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Was it like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. This caught my attention. And as I was sitting there watching and listening to this man speak of the things of, that land and its economy, now shit start to make more sense. A lot of things start to make a lot more sense. And what do I mean by that? He said it, they could afford a local war. Right? The local war would be with the Palestinians. They finally get things revved up. But something that Klaus Schwab has said many, many moons ago, and all the stuff that's going on around the world, distraction after distraction, this devil literally is imploding his economy because these people's spending habits is not that great. They're not that wise that we thought they were, or how they claim to be. You know the sayings about these small hatters, and their number one economy booming, money making thing is tech. They don't serve no other purpose but the tech. So now things to start to make sense more. All right. Now we all know in the scriptures why the Lord is doing it. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I always bring this out because things are becoming more clearer every day of the moment. All right. It says Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me, save the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations. All right, so the Lord's determination, which when you look up the word for the determination, is mashapat. Okay? He's about to judge these nations. Right? It's to gather the nations that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation, even my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fear of my jealousy. So the Lord's purposing right now is to gather the nations. By any means necessary, he's gathering the nations. And a lot of times, it says, wait, real quick, Jeremiah, check out the 149. No. Yeah, actually, I could do the 49. 45, 49, 22. Sorry. It says, Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom and his purpose. So counsel and purpose is the same. Let's go to counsel. Counsel says, the Hebrew word is atazah. Counsel, advice, purpose. By implication, plan. Also prudence, advice, advisement, counsel, purpose. All right? Purpose, just a straight up purpose. What does that mean? The Hebrew word for that is makashab. Makashab. thought, device, plan, purpose, invention. So the Lord's purposing, his plan was to get these people revved up, all right, against Esau, Edom. Now, somebody might say, "Oh, but y'all guys say that they own all the banks and so forth." Oh, yeah, yes, they do. But this nigga, because he is truly a nigga, he don't spend his money as wisely as he think he does. But who always support them? And the guy even said it. Most of the money comes from America. All right. It says, in his purpose that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their inhabitation desolate with them. Now, this scripture come out a lot lately because it's true. The least of the flock is Amalek in that land. Is drawing who out? America. All right, America. Real quick. Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So we know the Hebrew word for heart is lab. So the king's mind is in the hand of the Lord. So the Lord's purpose is gathered to cause them to get the help from America to front these wars, to keep funding them. Because the simple fact is they need to get rid of this, the shekel, the euro, the dollar, all this fiat currency that's around the world. They have to get rid of it. So that way they can introduce the alternative notion. Now, with money, with real money, always got to bring this out. Real money, gold and silver, once the other side loses gold and silver, he cannot go to war. So that prevents a long war. But with this fiat currency, meaning you can make anything out of anything, there's always an ongoing war. So this man is set up or set things up so he could always go to war. That's why they always have endless amount of money when it comes to these wars. Joel 3:9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up, which is all the men of war, the warriors, and that warrior spirit. So the Lord is stirring up that warrior spirit. It doesn't matter how. It could be money. It could be resources. All the Lord is doing, he's allowing these people, he's speaking to them, right? I was going to get Daniel's, but I'm just going to quote it. Daniel's, the 10th chapter tells you when Daniel wanted to answer for a prayer, for a while he chastised his soul. Yahushua himself came to him, and Yahushua was telling him he would have came sooner, but the prince of Persia withstood him, so he needed Michael to assist him. So it's showing that the Lord, the angels are working in the minds of the people around the world. So what is the angels around the world is doing? Is stirring these men's mind up. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So take your money, your economy, because that's all it is. Agriculture is good for the economy of the people. All right. Once you farm and you sell local or you sell international, guess what? Guess what you just did? You just boosted your economy. But now they don't have no money for their economies, but they have a lot of money for war. Wow, that's really coincidental, right? This is all part of the Lord's plan, man. All part of the Lord's plan. Because Benjamin Netanyahu, he was getting a lot of slack. All right. Now, well, prime ministers and presidents are two different things. But this man lost power, then he came back. Lost power, then he came back again. And the people was not having that over there. This is very important to understand. Now, all of a sudden, the big bag boogeyman, they got their 9/11 situation happening. But secretly, it's all part of the plan so they could dump the shekel, they could dump all this money around the world to bring in a CBDC. Ultimately, I'm going to get it. Revelation 20. I saw that's 8 to the point. And they shall go out to deceive the nations. That's what the devil do. And when the mantra, whatever, of the Mossad is by deception, or they shall start war. So they want to deceive the nations. And it says, which are in the four quarters of the earth. So all the lies, all the business deals, all the treachery, everything that you could think of, all the foul things that these people did, all right, throughout the centuries. It says the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to the battle. So Gog and Magog, what is that? Russia. All right. So you got the small hatters in Russia that's working with the small hats in Israel. And the small hats in Israel is working with the small hats in the U.S. But all this great deception, even amongst themselves, they're leading these two powerful nations to come to war. All right. It says together to the battle, the number whom is as the sand of the sea. All right. And the who, meaning all the armies of the world. So they always fight for something. And this is why they're going to end up doing this, because this is all part of the masterful plan. Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he shall cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads. So we know that word mark is the charagma. All right. Dumping all these dollars is going to lead the world with all the war, all this shit that's going on, is going to lead the world to people in the world is going to have to take this thing. Those that they deem to remain, to survive, they're going to have to take that. And it's funny because it says both small and great. So it doesn't matter who you are. You could be rich with billionaires or whatever. You're going to have to take that shit. While the super elites is going to sit back and enjoy the fruits of this war. This shit is a lot strategic that the Lord has created. All right. He's created it in a way which is going to lead them to get into some type of shit. And then America has to come through just to fulfill the lot of their CBDC, which is going to lead to this right particular thing right here. That no man might buy or sell save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. This is why there's so much turmoil within that land. We had a guy basically saying that if things don't get better, that rivers of blood is going to be in that land. So there's a lot of things that's going on that we just now understanding and hearing, which we don't care. We don't give a damn who it is. But all that is going to lead to the same thing. They're going to try to mark everybody much as possible. They're going for a global attack. All right. They want to get rid. They don't have a problem killing their own at all. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for the number of a man is, and his 600, and the number is 603 scores and 6. They want everything or everyone that's not part of that inner circle to bear this stuff. This was all leading to. All right? This was all leading to. Because this man is the devil, man. He is the devil. He even doing it to his own. Matter of fact, let me get this in Apocrypha. Is it second? Is it Sirach? It's saying good to himself. No. Like should be around. Bada bing. It says Sirach 14. I should go up. Yeah, it's spirit, right? It says, I'll start at 3. Riches are not comely for a nigger. So riches, when it see, and it's crazy because they call dark skinned people nigger, but nigger doesn't mean the way they say it is. It means somebody that's greedy. And believe it or not, which you already know that these people are greedy, period. But they even worse off than themselves. All right, riches are not comely for a niggard. And what should an envy man do with money? He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul, which is his own people. They don't split the money down the line with them. They give them pennies. All right, they give them pennies. They may rule a couple of certain things, but they don't give them ish. It says, gather for others that they shall spend his goods righteously. That's their economy. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. And he's evil to himself. That's why you have the small hatters. They got beef within each other, with a different organization within each other. Then they got beef with their fellow Edomites and calling them Esau, and then they try to say that they're this, that, right? They treat their people like they treat each other like shit, because these people don't know no other way. And there's all this facade of all these years. All they take care of themselves. They put money into the community, of their community. It's all bullshit. All right, they're not getting. Those people don't even got money like their high elites. Okay, it says, he that is evil to himself. So within their own household, there's a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of backstabbing. Best movie to bring that up was Blade. All right, within the organization of the vampires, you had splits. One believes you gotta stay in the dark and not do nothing and just feed on the people, and others like, look, we the top predators. That was in the movie, and that show you that. All right, another show, brothers always talk about it. Damn, with that movie not the movie, but that show with not Dennis Hoffman. What was this guy's name? The guy that he got sued because he molested a child, a boy. Kevin Spacey. As soon as I can remember him. It was a political show. House of Cards or something like that. Even in that show and all these other shows, they show you how they cutthroats amongst each other. It says, verse 6, there's none worse than he that is envious himself. So, so they all hate one another. They all envy towards one another. And this is the recompense of his wickedness. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness, even amongst their own people. All right? It says that the envious man have a wicked eye, he turneth away his face and despiseth men. And that's what the scripture says There's more to it? Oh, yeah, good. It says, a covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and the iniquity of the wicked drieth up his soul. A wicked eye envious his bread, and he is a nigger at this table. So now they're not satisfied that they have control of all the world. They're willing to destroy their own shit, so that way they could control those that they deem serviceable to control everything else, which they're gonna be cutthroat each other. Period. Bunch of cutthroats, man. You're not supposed to hear none of that crap that that guy just said. That's supposed to be, that shows you that they're not the people as well. That's another factor that they're not the Lord's chosen people. Violence in the land, and their economies is shit. Their shekel ain't shit. That's not a thing of prosperity. Of like the Most High bless them. That's a curse. It says, my son, according to thy ability, do good to thyself, and give the Lord his due offering. And that's how the kingdom of heaven is going to be. There's not going to be one single Israelite that's going to be in want. Our economy is going to be 100% all year round. There's not going to be a quarter like it dipped, because you're going to have everything. We're going to have land, we're going to have property, we're going to have slaves. And this is why they're pushing the idea to, which they say, there's a video circulating that each of them is supposed to have like 50. That's what they peasants, bro. Anyway, they're supposed to have like what, 50 slaves as promised to them, all this other stuff. If you ever go to their neighborhoods, I've did a lot of pickups from them. They the front people, and in the back is Issachar that's doing the work, or they might have a Jake hosting, and they just sit there or stand there like they the ones that's doing everything. They play the game like they doing good to themselves, but they really niggas. They're the true niggas of the society. All right, I'm gonna end it off on this. Luke. Actually, should I do 10 and 18? I'll do that. 10 and 18, and I'm going to do 11 and 18. It says, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from heaven. So falling from his estate. All right. Luke 11 and 18. It says, if Satan also be divided against himself, so the adversary fighting against himself, I should go up, but he knoweth their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, which is a heavy omen of today's society. We still have Edomite on Edomite crime, which in the grand scheme of things is what? These world wars. But yet they always came back together, because the Lord wants that not adversity. He wants them to be somewhat together. When we're seeing something, they're completely divided. They've been divided since 1492, since they came into power, fighting over lands, warring with each other, but now more than ever. It says, and a house divided against a house falleth. So we're seeing the fall of Esau right before us. We living in the time of the end of Esau. If Satan also divide against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? The answer to that, it won't. It is not. Despite they have these grand scheme of things, like they're gonna rule forever. The scriptures tell you that Psalms 49 and 11, they think that their house shall continue forever. They're divided right now. And within this division, they're going to fall dramatically. All right? They're going to fall. And once they fall, it's over for them. The scripture says what? Their own, matter of fact, let me get Obadiah. I'll end off from there. Obadiah. Right. Obadiah 1 and 1. Obadiah 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And we living in a time of revealing. We in the book of Revelations. So Revelations means apocalypse or apocalypto in the Greek, which means unveiling. So the things that he was hiding he's unveiling. It's being unveiled. All right? The treatment of the world, how he got the world, who Esau really is. All the men of that confederacy has brought thee even to the border. And confederacy, the meaning what? All the people that's sitting in the same table, the same house, literally. It says, let's go. Bar Yacht. It says covenant, alliance, pledge, between man, treaty, alliance, league, man to man, constitution, ordinance, monarchy to subject, agreement, pledge. All right. Alliance of friendship, alliance of marriage. Keep that in mind. I'll jump down. Covenant making, covenant keeping, covenant violation. So all the people that he's made a covenant with has brought them to the border, which is said is the least of the flock shall draw them out. Which is who's being drawn? America is being drawn, which Babylon is being drawn to a situation that is going to be far worse than they can imagine. All right? Because the same people that's drawing them to this war is drawing the other side to this war. And that showed a video for No More News of all these rabbis and these top guys is telling the world, like, look, America's Babylon. So they're drawing you out to be destroyed. And you aiding them the whole time. And they're drawing out Gog and Magog to be destroyed. And they think that they're going to rule. Man, this devil's crazy. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. They prevailed against thee, that they that eat thy bread, which is the substance. All right. All these nations has been aided by America. All right, have laid a wound under thee. There's none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men of the wise men of Edom, and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thou mighty men, or Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of Mount Seir may be cut off by the slaughter. So it's all part of the plan. Yeah, they could do a regional war, but that regional war is going to escalate to World War III, where they're going to think they're going to play both sides, but they themselves is being played. It's beautiful, actually. So that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation. Shalom.